There is a restlessness that lives quietly beneath the surface of our waking moments, an unspoken tug, a silent call that pulls us forward, chasing shadows that always seem just beyond reach. We know this feeling well, the racing heart, the tightening grip of wanting something more, something just out of grasp. It is a chase not always visible, yet profoundly familiar, a dance with desire that threads through the fabric of our lives, shaping how we move, breathe, and measure ourselves. This chase is not merely a pursuit of objects or goals, but a deeper shadow longing, an echo of something missing within. It's the way our minds fixate on an imagined future where peace and fulfillment might finally settle, as if they were trophies waiting to be seized. We run after these shimmering mirages, believing that each step forward will bring us closer to the quiet center we seek. But the more we chase, the more that center seems to recede, like a lotus drifting on a slow-moving river, always visible, never quite held. Imagine a figure standing on the bank of a tranquil pond, eyes locked on a single, delicate lotus petal caught in the gentle current. With each stretch of the hand, the petal floats further away, carried by forces unseen yet deeply felt. This petal becomes the symbol of our craving, the intangible thing that promises solace, yet slips beyond our grasp the moment we reach for it. The chase itself creates a shadow, a veil that obscures the stillness waiting beneath the surface of our desires. This shadow longing is not an enemy but a guide, revealing the heart's hidden patterns. It teaches us about the paradox at the core of our existence. The more tightly we clutch, the more elusive peace becomes. The impulse to control, to hold fast, is born from fear, the fear that without possession or achievement, we will dissolve into emptiness. Yet, paradoxically, it is this very fear that chains us to endless pursuit, obscuring the freedom born from surrender. In Buddhist teachings, desire is not condemned, but understood as a natural part of the human experience. It is the unexamined hunger that binds us, the grasping mind that creates suffering. The art of detachment begins when we shift from fleeing the chase to meeting it with openness, when we learn to receive without seizing, to allow life's currents to move through us instead of resisting them. This is not an act of cold withdrawal, but of courageous receptivity. Consider the metaphor of the breath, each inhale a receiving, each exhale a release. The breath does not grasp at air, it flows freely, effortlessly, nourishing the body and mind. So too can our hearts learn to stop the relentless grasping and begin the delicate practice of receiving, accepting what arises without clinging, embracing the present moment without the compulsion to possess or control. In this space, peace is no longer a distant goal but an intimate companion. The chase, then, reveals itself as a shadow play, a dynamic tension between yearning and release that calls for our mindful presence. This tension is not to be resolved by force or denial, but to be held gently, like a fragile flower cradled in open palms. To stop chasing is not to stop living. It is to transform the very way we engage with life's unfolding mystery. It invites us into a spaciousness where desire is seen clearly and met with a tenderness that dissolves its power to torment. What if the very act of letting go could be the key to unlocking a deeper fulfillment? What if peace is found not in the endless pursuit, but in the willingness to receive life as it comes, without the incessant urge to control its shape or timing? Here, in this gentle surrender, the art of detachment is born, not as an absence, but as a presence of vast openness, a quiet strength, a compassionate embrace of impermanence. As we begin this journey, the shadows of desire ask us to look closely at our own restless hearts. They beckon us to notice where we chase, where we clutch, and where we might begin to soften into receiving. This is the first step toward peace. Not a peace imposed from outside, but one awakened from within, flowing like the water that carries the lotus petal gently onward, steady and serene. Beneath the restless surge of desire lies a quieter, more insidious tension, the pull of control, it is not merely the longing for what is absent, but the gripping conviction that peace, happiness, or security can be manufactured by holding tightly, by steering life's currents rather than flowing with them. This urge to control is the silent undercurrent beneath our chasing, a subtle insistence that if we grasp firmly enough, we can shape the future, tame uncertainty, and contain the vastness of experience. Yet this pull often betrays itself, revealing how the very act of control becomes a form of resistance. Resistance to impermanence, to vulnerability, to the raw openness that true peace requires. Imagine a hand clenched tightly around water. The harder it squeezes, the faster the water slips away. This paradox illustrates the core tension. The more we attempt to command, the more elusive the calm we seek becomes. The mind's craving for certainty can cloud the heart's natural capacity to receive and respond with grace. Consider the image of a tree whose branches extend in rigid, grasping angles, straining against the wind. Though it appears strong, this rigidity exposes it to greater risk: breakage, fracture, loss. In contrast, a willow bends and sways, surrendering to the breeze with supple openness, its roots deep and steady. The pull of control is like the stiff tree, and the art of detachment invites us to become like the willow, grounded, flexible, and receptive. In our daily lives, this tension manifests as a subtle restlessness, checking, planning, adjusting, striving to keep everything just so. It masquerades as responsible care, but beneath it is the shadow longing to master life's unpredictability. Yet, this very striving can exhaust the spirit and widen the gap between what we desire and what we truly need. The release from this compulsion does not come from abandoning care or effort, but from a transformation in relationship, shifting from grasping to receiving, from resisting to embracing uncertainty. This shift is neither simple nor instantaneous. It asks for a courageous openness, an invitation to lean into discomfort and allow the unknown to enter. When we loosen the grip on control, space opens, a spaciousness that invites curiosity and tenderness. In that space, peace is not a distant prize, but an ever-present current beneath the surface, waiting to be felt and lived. What might it feel like to rest in that openness? To let the hands unclench and trust the natural rhythms of life? This question gently unravels the tight knot of control, offering a glimpse of freedom not as escape, but as a deeper engagement with the present moment, alive and whole. Longing often leaves behind a quiet echo, a shadow that lingers long after the chase has slowed or paused. This echo is not simply the memory of desire, but its subtle imprint on the heart and mind, a shape, shifting presence that colors how we see ourselves and the world. It whispers of what might have been or what still could be, drawing us into cycles of wanting that feel both familiar and hauntingly incomplete. This shadow longing often masquerades as a restless companion, urging us onward even when our bodies yearn for rest. It reveals the paradox woven into our nature. We crave connection and peace, yet our attachments create invisible chains that bind us to patterns of dissatisfaction. Like the soft afterglow of twilight, the echo is a reminder that the chase shapes us deeply. Even when we strive to look away, imagine a figure standing in half light, their silhouette blurred against the fading sun. Behind them, faint shadows ripple and stretch, echoes of past reaches and missed graspings, haunting yet intangible. These shadows reveal how longing imprints itself beneath awareness, shaping moods, decisions, and the silent conversations we hold with ourselves. The chase leaves a residue, and to step into detachment is to confront this subtle inheritance without fear. Yet this shadow is not merely a burden, it is also an invitation to greater clarity. By noticing the echoes, we begin to see the contours of our desires with fresh eyes. Less as problems to solve and more as aspects of ourselves to understand. Detachment is not erasing the shadow, but learning to meet it with gentle curiosity, allowing its edges to soften in the light of mindful presence. In this encounter, the restless heart can begin to find its rhythm beyond the chase. The echo teaches us that peace is not found by erasing desire, but by transforming our relationship to it. When longing is met with acceptance rather than resistance, it loses its power to drive us blindly. This space between desire and release is where detachment breathes, where the heart learns to receive without grasping, and to dwell in a freedom that neither denies nor clings. These echoes of longing ripple quietly beneath our awareness, shaping the texture of our days in ways we seldom fully see. They are the soft shadows cast by past desires, traces of yearning that linger long after the immediate chase has ceased. Like the afterimage of a sunset, they imprint themselves on the mind, coloring our moods and steering subtle currents of thought and feeling. This lingering presence reveals how deeply the chase roots itself, entwining with the very fabric of who we are. Such shadow longing is paradoxical. It both beckons and unsettles, calling us towards something beyond our grasp, while keeping us tethered to restless wanting. It becomes a mirror reflecting the dance between control and surrender, the very tension that defines our human experience. When we listen closely, we hear its whispered question: can we meet desire without being consumed by it? Can we witness the shadows without fleeing or fighting? Imagine a quiet pond at dusk, its surface still yet reflecting shadows that shift with the fading light. These reflections are not distortions, but invitations to look deeper beneath the surface, to discover what lies beyond chasing. In that stillness, the restless heart encounters itself, not as a fractured or flawed self, but as a whole presence unfolding, capable of embracing both longing and release. By leaning into this embrace, detachment reveals itself not as cold detachment, but as a courageous openness, a willingness to receive what arises without grasping. The echoes of the chase then soften, no longer chains but gentle guides, leading toward a peace that is both grounded and expansive. In this tender resonance, the restless heart begins to find its way home. There comes a moment on this journey when the restless heart begins to recognize a profound paradox, that the very act of control we clutch so fiercely can only be transcended through surrender. It is a delicate threshold where the urge to hold tight meets the invitation to let go, a space both fragile and fierce, demanding courage greater than any pursuit. This is not surrender as defeat, but a dance between resistance and release, a finely balanced art where control and letting go entwine like breaths inhale and exhale. Imagine standing at the edge of a riverbank, the water's current strong and unyielding. To resist its flow is to strain against an unstoppable force, exhausting body and spirit. But to surrender, to step into the current without grasping, is to discover a new kind of strength, one born not from opposition, but from harmony. Here, surrender does not mean absence of effort. It means trust, presence, and an openness that welcomes life's rhythms as they come, rather than as we wish them to be. This tension between control and surrender lies at the heart of the Buddhist path. The mind's habit is to grasp, seeking security and certainty, framing peace as something to be captured and preserved. Yet paradoxically, this very grasping perpetuates unrest. The art of surrender invites us to loosen these grasping hands and meet reality with an embrace that is neither passive nor cold, but vibrant and alive, a receptivity that does not reject the world but receives it fully. Consider the metaphor of the lotus flower, rooted firmly in the mud beneath the water's surface, yet blooming open above with effortless grace. The lotus embodies the art of surrender, grounded in the richness of its origins, yet open and receptive to the sun's gentle light. So too can we be anchored in our inner stillness, while opening tenderly to life's unfolding, holding neither tightly nor apart, but in a living balance. This artful surrender also reveals how control and release are not opposites but partners in a continuous cycle. Each moment of letting go creates space for a deeper receiving, Each act of receiving grounds us more securely, allowing us to meet the next challenge without fear. In this rhythm, the restless heart learns a new language, a language of flow rather than fight, of trust rather than tension. To practice this art is to cultivate presence, an ever-deepening awareness that watches the impulse to control arise without judgment and gently returns to the breath, the body, the moment. It is a quiet revolution, not of grand gestures, but of small, persistent openings that dissolve the walls built by craving and fear. In surrender, the heart discovers its strength not in hardness, but in softness, not in grasping, but in receiving. What might it mean to live in this paradox? To embody surrender without losing oneself, to hold control lightly enough to feel its pulse, but not be bound by it. To answer is to step into a life less burdened by striving and more rich with presence, where peace is not a distant goal, but a living, breathing reality unfolding in each moment. This delicate balance between control and surrender is not a destination, but an ongoing dance, one that asks us to be both firm and fluid, present and yielding. It calls to mind the image of a tightrope walker, poised above an abyss, where every movement requires both tension and release, focus and trust. The walker's strength does not come from rigidity, but from a subtle responsiveness, a willingness to lean into the unknown with steady breath and open hands. In life, we often mistake surrender for weakness or passivity, yet the art of surrender reveals a profound strength that is anything but passive. It is a strength born of acceptance, of meeting reality without the shield of resistance. This strength enables us to hold complexity and contradiction simultaneously, to hold our desires and our detachment, our yearning and our peace, in a dynamic and evolving embrace. Consider the metaphor of the ocean tide, which pulls away from the shore only to return with gentle persistence. The tide's ebb and flow embody the rhythm of control and letting go, reminding us that surrender is a natural movement, not an aberration to be feared or denied. When we resist this rhythm, we create inner turbulence, but when we learn to move with it, we discover a profound harmony, an effortless grace beneath the surface of striving. This harmony unfolds not by negating our desires, but by transforming our relationship to them. Rather than seeing control as the antidote to uncertainty, we come to see it as a companion on the path, a partner in a subtle dialogue that invites us to loosen our grip, to soften our stance, and to open to the unfolding of life's mystery. Through this opening, detachment is reimagined as an act of courageous presence, an invitation to receive without grasping, to engage without entanglement. What emerges from this dance of control and surrender is a form of peace that is alive and breathing, not static or distant. It is a peace rooted in trust. The trust that comes from knowing we can meet whatever arises with an open heart, that we are supported by the unfolding flow of existence itself. This trust invites us to step out of the frantic chase and into a spaciousness where the restless heart can finally find rest. In this space, we are no longer divided between holding on and letting go, but are invited to dwell in the tension with gentle curiosity and grace. The art of surrender becomes a living practice, a rhythm woven into the breath and the body, a quiet revolution that awakens the heart to its true nature, vast, free, and whole. There is a delicate dance that unfolds in the space between holding and releasing, a tension both palpable and subtle, like the tautness of a bowstring before the arrow takes flight. This dance is not a struggle, but a movement of balance, where the heart learns to be both steady and supple, anchored yet free. Here, control does not vanish, nor does surrender dissolve into passivity. Instead, they intertwine in a living rhythm that invites us to move with life's currents rather than against them. This tension is the fertile ground where transformation takes root. Holding can feel like protection, a way to guard what is precious. Releasing can feel like loss, a step into the unknown. Yet both are essential. like the inhale and exhale of breath, each giving meaning to the other. In the Buddhist understanding, this dance reveals the paradox of desire itself, how our craving pulls us forward while inviting us to let go, how the very thing we chase calls us towards spaciousness. Imagine a tightrope walker crossing a mist-shrouded chasm, her arms extended, body poised between steadiness and fluidity. Each step demands a subtle negotiation. Lean too far into control and balance falters, surrender too much, and the path disappears. Yet within this precarious tension lies the possibility of grace, of a movement that is both deliberate and surrendered, a dance with uncertainty that becomes its own art. This is the dance of detachment, not a withdrawal from life's pulse, but an embrace of its complexities. It asks us to cultivate a presence that holds desire lightly, neither grasping nor rejecting, allowing the fullness of experience to unfold without distortion. Through this practice, the restless heart begins to recognize that holding and releasing are not opposing forces, but complementary expressions of engagement and freedom. What emerges in this dance is a profound spaciousness, a serene expansiveness beneath the chase. It is a place where peace is not the absence of tension, but the harmonious weaving of paradox, where the heart moves with a tender strength that is both grounded and open. This dance invites us to witness our impulses with gentle curiosity, to find in every moment the possibility of turning toward life with courageous openness. In the interplay of holding and releasing, the art of detachment reveals itself as a living practice, a continuous unfolding that calls us beyond the simplistic binaries of control or surrender into a nuanced embrace of both. Here, amid the tension, the heart learns to breathe freely, to receive without grasping, and to rest deeply in the flow of existence itself. This dance between holding and releasing is a tension that hums beneath the surface of our lives, an intricate rhythm that calls us to navigate the space where control meets surrender. It is here, in this fertile inn, between that the heart learns a new kind of movement, neither clenching tight nor letting go blindly, but balancing with gentle awareness, flowing with the currents of life rather than resisting them. Consider the tension of a bowstring pulled taut. Without the tension, the arrow cannot fly, yet if pulled too tight, the string may snap. This delicate balance mirrors our own experience of desire and detachment. We find strength not in rigid control, nor in careless abandonment, but in the poised readiness of openness, an openness that holds possibility without grasping, that receives without closing. Within Buddhist wisdom, this tension is recognized not as contradiction, but as a dynamic harmony, a living paradox that invites us to hold two truths simultaneously. We are both seekers and receivers, warriors and nurturers, holding fast to our values while surrendering to the mystery beyond our control. This is not a path of ease, but of deep engagement, a courageous practice that asks us to meet life with presence and grace. Imagine a dancer moving slowly across a stage, each step a conscious negotiation between balance and movement, between tension and release. In this dance, each gesture is imbued with intention and surrender, strength and softness. So too can we learn to inhabit the tension within ourselves, finding in it not conflict, but a source of profound aliveness and freedom. What shifts when we begin to see holding and releasing not as opposites but as partners? How might life change if we moved through the world with hands open, ready to receive and to let go as the moment calls? In this tender awareness, the art of detachment reveals itself as a graceful dance, one where the restless heart learns to breathe freely, resting in the expansive space between grasp and surrender. Desire is often seen as a force to overcome, a restless tug pulling us away from peace. Yet what if desire itself is not the enemy, but an invitation to deeper awareness, to recognize the subtle call beneath the surface craving. When desire softens from grasping to beckoning, it opens a doorway, an opening where yearning transforms into a gentle asking, inviting us to lean into life's unfolding with openness rather than resistance. Imagine desire as a river flowing toward the sea. At first, it may feel urgent, rushing, relentless. But as it nears the vast ocean, the current slows, widening into a calm expanse that receives without struggle. This is the moment where desire becomes invitation, where the chase gives way to reception, and the heart finds room to breathe into spaciousness. In this space, detachment reveals its true nature, not as cold indifference, but as courageous openness. To receive desire without clutching is to engage with life fully, allowing passion and peace to coexist. This invitation asks us to meet longing with curiosity, to welcome what arises without the need to fix or control. When desire becomes invitation, the restless heart begins to rest, not by silencing its voice, but by listening with tenderness. It is here that the art of detachment begins to unfold, revealing a peace that is both profound and alive. Desire often feels like a force pulling us forward, urgent and insistent, a restless energy that drives the chase. But what if, instead of resisting this impulse, we could listen more deeply, allowing desire to soften from a demand into an invitation? This subtle shift transforms craving from something to escape or conquer into a door that opens inward, inviting us to meet our longings with curiosity and gentle presence. Picture the slow unfurling of a lotus flower, its petals gradually opening to the morning light. In this unfolding, desire reveals itself not as grasping or needing, but as a tender call to awaken, to recognize the possibility of receiving without clinging, to be fully present with what arises without rushing to change it. Desire, when met with openness, becomes less a chase and more a dance, a movement toward deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us. This transformation invites us to reimagine detachment, not as cold distance or emptiness, but as a courageous act of openness that welcomes all aspects of experience. When desire becomes invitation, it teaches us to hold space for longing without being consumed by it, to rest in the paradox of yearning and acceptance. Here, the heart learns to receive life's flow with tenderness, discovering peace not beyond desire, but within its unfolding. Letting go is often mistaken for losing ourselves, as if release means disappearance, emptiness, or abandonment of who we are. Yet the art of detachment gently reveals a different truth, that surrender does not dissolve the self, but frees it from the bindings of craving and fear. To let go without losing self is to discover a deeper ground, a place of rooted presence that holds us steady even as we release what no longer serves. Imagine a tree shedding its leaves in autumn. At first, the falling feels like loss, a bare vulnerability exposed to the chill. But beneath this apparent bareness is a quiet strength, a resilient core that sustains through the changing seasons. In letting go, the tree does not lose itself, it renews itself, making space for new growth and deeper vitality. So too can the heart learn to release without fragmentation, to find wholeness not in holding tightly, but in the freedom of openness. This gentle release unfolds not in a sudden act, but as a tender process, a gradual unwinding of attachment woven through breath and presence. It requires patience with ourselves and the courage to face what feels uncertain or painful. Yet within this unfolding lies profound liberation, the liberation to be fully alive, connected not by clinging, but by compassionate engagement. Consider the teaching that the self is like water, shaped by the vessel it inhabits, but never confined by it. Water flows, adapts, and remains itself even as it moves through countless forms. In this fluidity, there is resilience and grace. Letting go, then, is less about losing identity and more about embracing the self's true nature, vast, dynamic, and free. What might it mean to live from this place of gentle release? To hold life with open hands, knowing that to let go is not to vanish, but to awaken into a fuller, more spacious way of being. This is the heart of detachment, not cold withdrawal, but a courageous, loving reception of life's unfolding mystery. where peace blooms in the spaces between grasping and surrender. Letting go is often misunderstood as losing ourselves, fading into emptiness or disappearing into nothingness. Yet the true art of detachment shows us something far richer, that in releasing our grip on craving and fear, we actually uncover a deeper, steadier self. It's like the quiet core of a tree that remains firm and alive beneath the falling leaves, unseen but unwavering. Letting go does not mean vanishing. It means shedding what no longer nourishes, making space for renewal and growth. This process unfolds gently, like the slow unfurling of a lotus petal at dawn. At first, releasing attachment can feel vulnerable and fragile, as if we are exposing ourselves to cold winds. But beneath this vulnerability lies strength, a quiet resilience rooted in openness. When we learn to let go without losing ourselves, we discover a grounded presence that holds both the shadows and the light, the yearning and the peace. Imagine water flowing freely in a river, never fixed, always moving, yet fully itself. The water does not cling to stones or resist the current. It adapts, yielding yet powerful, shaping the landscape even as it moves through it. Our selfhood can embody this fluidity, rooted in awareness, flexible in experience, allowing us to engage with life fully without being trapped by our attachments. This gentle release asks for courage, the courage to face discomfort, uncertainty, and loss without retreating into grasping or denial. It invites us to rest in spaciousness, to meet each moment with tenderness and curiosity, holding our whole experience without judgment. In doing so, we find a peace that is not static or distant, but alive and present, a peace that blooms precisely because we have made room for it. Letting go without losing self reveals detachment as a courageous embrace, not a cold withdrawal. It transforms the restless heart into a sanctuary of openness, where we are free to receive life's gifts without clinging, and to offer ourselves with compassion to the world around us. Here, in this spaciousness, the art of detachment becomes a living practice, an invitation to awaken to the fullness of being. True detachment is not a retreat into cold indifference or a sterile absence of feeling. Rather, it is a profound act of courageous openness, a willingness to meet life exactly as it is, without the armor of grasping or the shields of resistance. This openness is not weakness. It is the heart's bold embrace of uncertainty, vulnerability, and the ever-changing flow of existence. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, waves gently lapping at your feet. To step into this water requires surrender, a letting go of control and certainty. Yet within this surrender lies an immense strength, the power to be fully present, to receive whatever comes without flinching, and to find stability not in grasping, but in openness itself. Detachment in this sense is like the ocean, vast, receptive, and unwavering. This courage to be open breaks through the illusion that peace requires mastery over our desires or the external world. Instead, it reveals peace as a spaciousness that holds all of life's complexities, joy and sorrow, gain and loss, presence and absence. The courageous heart accepts these polarities without collapse, cultivating a resilience that is tender and strong. Consider the story of the lotus, rooted in muddy waters yet blooming with radiant beauty above the surface. The lotus does not deny the mud, it embraces it as the foundation of its growth. Similarly, detachment invites us to accept that mud, of our fears, attachments, and uncertainties, transforming them into a fertile ground for awakening. This transformation is an act of deep courage, an openness that does not reject but transforms, that does not close but expands. In practicing this courageous openness, we discover that detachment is not separation from life, but a deeper engagement with it. It is an active receiving, a poised presence that welcomes all experience with grace. Here, the restless heart finds a sanctuary, a place where freedom arises not from control, but from the vastness of being willing to receive and let go, to hold and release, in an unending dance of life. True detachment is a courageous openness, an invitation to meet life's unfolding with a heart unguarded and ready to receive, even when uncertainty looms. It is the willingness to stand naked before the vastness of existence, not with fear or resistance, but with an embrace that is both tender and strong. This openness is a quiet strength, born not of denial but of acceptance, where we neither flee from the unknown nor clutch desperately at illusions of control. Picture the ocean's edge, where waves continuously come and go, never clinging, never resisting, yet always fully present, carrying with them the pulse of the world. To be like the ocean's edge is to embody this balance, vast, receptive, and unwavering. This is the heart of detachment as courageous openness, a place where the restless seeking softens into serene presence. This openness disrupts the common misconception that detachment means cold withdrawal or disengagement. Instead, it reveals detachment as a living, breathing engagement, a dynamic interplay between the self and the world that welcomes joy and sorrow, presence and absence, without losing equanimity. It takes courage to face life with such vulnerability, to receive both delight and loss, without clenching or shutting down. Consider the lotus flower that blooms beautifully above muddy waters. It does not deny its origin but transforms it, rising with grace and resilience. Detachment is like this lotus, rooted in reality, open to experience, and unafraid to blossom in the midst of complexity. This courage to be open invites us to deepen our compassion, not only for others but for ourselves, as we navigate the tension between yearning and release. In practicing detachment as courageous openness, we cultivate a sanctuary within, a space where the heart can rest freely, neither grasping nor withdrawing, but moving fluidly with life's rhythms. Here the art of receiving unfolds naturally, and peace becomes not a distant goal, but a lived, expansive reality. There is a quiet power in receiving, an energy that moves softly beneath the surface of our grasping and striving. To receive is to open, to create a space within that welcomes whatever arises without the need to hold tightly or push away. This power is subtle yet profound, like the gentle acceptance of sunlight spilling over a calm morning lake, illuminating without disturbance. Receiving asks us to slow down, to soften the clenched fist of craving into open hands. It is an invitation to rest in the flow of life, rather than battling against it, to embrace the present moment fully, even when it carries uncertainty or pain. In this openness, we find a resilience that does not resist but transforms, turning restlessness into peace, tension into spaciousness. Imagine a cup held out, empty yet ready, its purpose fulfilled not by what it holds, but by its readiness to receive. So too does the heart find strength in its capacity to welcome all experiences, not as burdens or threats, but as teachers and companions on the path. This is the art of detachment, a courageous receiving that releases the chase and opens the way to true freedom. There is a quiet power in receiving, a strength born not of force or grasping, but of gentle openness. To receive is to create a sacred space within, a soft invitation for life to flow through without resistance. This openness does not diminish us. Rather, it expands the heart's capacity to hold the fullness of experience, welcoming joy and sorrow, gain and loss alike. Imagine a simple cup, empty yet ready, its purpose fulfilled by its willingness to receive, not by what it contains. In the same way, the heart finds resilience not by clinging tightly, but by embracing whatever arises with calm presence. This is the essence of detachment, a courageous act of receiving that frees us from the endless chase and invites us into the serene expansiveness of being. In this spaciousness, the restless energy of craving softens, making room for peace to emerge, not as an absence, but as a luminous presence within. The quiet power of receiving teaches us that true freedom is not in holding on, but in opening wide, allowing life's currents to move freely through us, steady and unshaken. Beneath the ceaseless chase, beneath the restless yearning and the endless reaching, there lies a stillness, an ancient and quiet presence that is often overlooked. This stillness is not the absence of movement or desire, but a profound depth beneath all activity, a sanctuary where the heart can finally rest. It is like the calm lake beneath the surface ripples, steady and vast, untouched by the waves that dance above it. This stillness invites us to pause and listen, to discover that what we have been seeking outwardly has always been present within. It calls us to shift our gaze from the frantic pursuit to the spacious ground beneath our feet. In Buddhist teachings, this stillness is the true nature of mind, the source of peace that is not earned or attained, but revealed through letting go of grasping. Consider the metaphor of a candle's flame flickering in a gentle breeze. On the surface, the flame dances and wavers, pushed by unseen currents. Yet at the center of that flame is a quiet core, steady and luminous, unwavering even amidst the movement. So too is the stillness beneath the chase, a luminous core of being that shines through the shadows of desire and distraction. Encountering this stillness is not an escape from life, but a deeper engagement with it. It allows us to meet our yearning without being overwhelmed, to hold our longing without losing ourselves. In this space, the paradox of control and surrender dissolves into a seamless flow, where presence is neither forced nor absent, but perfectly attuned. This stillness does not silence the heart, rather, it opens it to a deeper resonance, an expansive awareness that embraces both inner calm and compassionate connection. It is here, in this serene resonance, that true peace unfolds, not as a distant goal, but as the living ground beneath all chasing, the home where the restless heart finds its true rest. Beneath the surface of our restless pursuit lies a profound stillness, an enduring calm that remains untouched by the swirling currents of desire and distraction. This stillness is not a void or silence, but a living presence, quietly steady and luminous beneath the ceaseless motion. Like the deep roots of a tree hidden beneath shifting winds, it supports and sustains us even when we are unaware. This quiet ground invites us to pause, to breathe deeply into the space between yearning and release. It is here, in the embrace of stillness, that the paradox of control and surrender begins to dissolve, revealing a seamless flow where presence unfolds naturally. This stillness is not found by pushing away the chase, but by turning toward it with gentle awareness, watching, breathing, and resting into the heart's true nature. Imagine a vast lake at dawn, its surface stirred only by a soft breeze, reflecting the awakening sky. The ripples ripple and dance, yet the depths remain calm and unshaken. This image offers a glimpse into the inner landscape of the stillness beneath our own restless longings. The waves of desire may rise and fall, but the foundational calm holds, inviting us to discover peace not outside ourselves, but deeply within. In this place of serene resonance, we encounter a transformative possibility, the freedom to engage fully with life's flow, without being carried away by it. It is a space where the heart learns to hold tension and ease together, where craving softens into curiosity, and where release becomes a natural rhythm rather than a forced act. Here the art of detachment reveals itself, not as absence but as presence. Vast, grounded, and compassionate, this stillness is not escape but home, a place to return to again and again as the chase unfolds. It offers the strength to face life's uncertainties with openness, and the grace to receive whatever arises with equanimity. In resting within this deep calm, the restless heart finds its true rest, and peace becomes a living resonance vibrating through every moment. Peace is not a solitary state, but a woven tapestry, interlacing the quiet threads of inner calm with the vibrant colors of outward compassion. These two are not separate realms, but inseparable aspects of a whole, each supporting and deepening the other. As the heart settles into stillness, it naturally opens to the world, creating a resonance that extends beyond self to embrace others with kindness and understanding. Imagine a vast, still pond reflecting the sky, a mirror of tranquility, yet beneath its surface, life stirs, fish glide, roots anchor, and currents flow. This hidden vitality parallels the interplay between our inner peace and the compassion that moves through us. True calm is not isolation. It is the fertile ground from which compassion springs, spontaneous and radiant, touching all beings without discrimination. In Buddhist wisdom, this interwoven peace is a living practice, a delicate balance between nurturing ourselves and extending care outward. The practice of detachment is not withdrawal from the world, but a deepening of our engagement. A courageous openness that holds personal serenity and social responsibility in a tender embrace. It challenges the illusion that self and other are separate, revealing instead a profound interconnectedness. Consider the metaphor of the lotus, rising unsullied from muddy waters. Its roots delve into the depths while its blossoms reach skyward, embodying the union of grounded calm and expansive compassion. In this image, we see how inner stillness nourishes outward generosity, and how compassionate action is rooted in the quiet strength of self-awareness. Living from this interwoven peace transforms how we meet life's challenges. It softens judgment and fuels patience, allowing us to respond to suffering with empathy rather than reaction. This harmony creates a spaciousness where both self and others can heal, grow, and flourish. A sanctuary not apart from the world, but deeply embedded within its pulse. As the heart cultivates this seamless blend of inner calm and outward compassion, detachment becomes not a cold disengagement, but a radiant openness. Here, peace is a living resonance, vibrating through every breath, every gesture, every encounter, inviting us to be fully present, wholly alive, and profoundly connected. Peace is never solitary. It is a weaving together, a delicate interlacing of inner calm with outward compassion. These are not separate threads, but parts of the same fabric, each strengthening and enriching the other. When the heart finds quietude within, it naturally expands outward, embracing others with a softness born from its own grounded presence. Imagine a lake at dawn, glassy and still, mirroring the sky's tender hues. Beneath its surface, life stirs, fish swim, roots anchor, currents move. This hidden vitality mirrors the relationship between our inner tranquility and the compassion flowing through us. True stillness is not isolation, but the fertile ground from which care and kindness emerge effortlessly. In Buddhist practice, this interwoven peace is a profound realization that nurturing our own serenity deepens our ability to engage the world with empathy. Detachment, far from cold withdrawal, becomes an active, courageous opening that holds self-awareness and social responsibility in a tender embrace. It challenges the illusion of separation, revealing our interconnectedness in every breath and action. Consider the lotus, rooted in mud, yet blooming pure and radiant above the water. It teaches us that calm and compassion arise, not despite complexity, but because of it. The courage to remain open to life's full spectrum, its light and shadow, invites a deeper compassion for both ourselves and others, weaving a peace that sustains and transforms. Living from this interwoven peace softens judgment and fuels patience, allowing us to respond to suffering not with resistance but with understanding. It is a sanctuary within the world's turbulence, where both self and other find room to heal and flourish. This is detachment as a vibrant engagement, a luminous resonance rippling through all moments and encounters. Life flows like a river, unceasing, ever-changing, and profoundly alive. To receive life as a living art is to learn how to move with this current, to open ourselves fully to the unfolding moment without clinging or resistance. It is a practice of graceful attunement, where detachment reveals itself not as separation, but as a vibrant engagement with the dance of change. Imagine a painter before a blank canvas, brush poised with intention yet ready to follow the colors as they emerge. The artist neither forces the image nor abandons the vision, but flows between control and surrender, allowing the work to arise through a delicate balance. So too does receiving become an art, a fluid dialogue with life where presence and openness shape each stroke, each breath. This artful receiving is born from the paradox of desire and release, the dynamic tension that propels us forward yet calls us back into stillness. It teaches us that true peace is found not in grasping at what we seek but in the quiet acceptance of what is. Here, life ceases to be a battle to win and becomes a creative unfolding, a song to be sung with wholehearted participation. When we embrace receiving as a living art, every moment holds the possibility of renewal. Craving softens into curiosity, resistance yields to receptivity, and the heart expands beyond its limits to discover a spaciousness alive with compassion and freedom. This flow is not passive, but a courageous engagement with existence, a willingness to dance with impermanence and meet the world with an open hand and a steady heart. In this way, detachment becomes not a withdrawal, but a profound aliveness, a resonance that homes through each encounter, each challenge, each quiet breath. Receiving life as art invites us to awaken fully to the present, to surrender not in defeat but in trust, and to discover peace as a living, breathing presence beneath the chase.